Hey folks, Mr. Dell here. We are looking at a word problem here where we have to determine the unit rate given some of the ratios, as well as then utilize that information to continue solving the problem. So this is a problem from CPM's course 3, and this is the closure questions, specifically number 7-121. It says Ryan and Janelle are driving from different locations to meet at Mammoth Lakes. When they each stopped for lunch, they called each other on their cell phones. Ryan had traveled, so Ryan had traveled 245 miles in 3.5 hours. So that right there is a rate, right? It's already a ratio. So I'm going to say 245 miles in 3.5 hours. I'm just going to use a decimal, 3.5 hours. Okay. So that's my rate at this point for Ryan. Janelle, we have 260 miles in 4 hours. So again, her rate is 260 miles in 4 hours. Okay. But it asks me here, how fast was each person driving? So that, when we talk about how fast was each person driving, this right here is asking me for my unit rate, right? My miles per hour in this case, miles per hour. That's a unit rate. So to get miles per hour, you start with your given information, which is a rate, a ratio, and now I've got to get this to where it's over 1. Unit rates are always over 1. I need 1 hour. So to do that, I'm going to divide top and bottom by the same number. I divide by this 3.5 over 3.5, divide by the giant 1 here. So 3.5 divided by 3.5 is 1. And if I take 245 and divide it by 3.5, I should get 70 when you do the division. So that means I have 70 miles for every 1 hour. So for Ryan, Ryan's speed is 70 miles per hour. Okay. So for Janelle, same thing, right? But this time, I want my denominator to be 1 hour. That's how I get a unit rate. To do that, divide by 4. 4 divided by 4 is 1. So what you do to the bottom of the fraction, you always do the top. It's dividing by that giant 1. Okay. So 260 divided by 4 is 65. So she goes 65 miles in that 1 hour. So we would say for Janelle, so Janelle's speed in there is 65 miles per hour. Okay. So then let's move on to the next question. The next part, it says if Janelle's originally started 575 miles from Mammoth Lakes and continues traveling at the same rate, how many more hours will it take her to arrive at her destination? So how many more hours? First, I have to find out how much more distance does she need to go? What is her remaining distance, right? So the total distance is 575. She's already traveled 260. So what is the difference? The difference is 315. So that's how many more miles to travel. 315 miles more to go, right? So if that's the case, and we know she's going 65 miles per hour, so how many hours is that? So I would want to take 315 and divide by 65 to determine how many hours, right? If it's 65 miles per 1 hour, and I want to know how many hours then for 315 miles, I do my division. And when I divide, I get, let's see, what do I get for my division here? I get approximately 4.85. Okay. So we know then it's going to take her, so approximately 4.85 hours to go. Okay. Or if you don't like the decimal equivalent there, you could say 4 hours and 51 minutes. And how do I do that? I take the 4, because that's my whole number, 4 hours, and then take 885 100ths. So multiply 0.85 times 60, because there's 60 minutes in an hour. So 0.85 times 60 should get you that 51 minutes. Okay. All right, there we go.